This week on Headlock'd, rising stars, main eventers, and Christian walk into the chamber, and we try to figure out who's going to win. Let's lock up. The foreboding steel structure of doom looming over the ring signifies the last pay-per-view ever, and the very last pit stop before WrestleMania. And no, we're not talking about Ready to Rumble's triple cage match. It's the Elimination Chamber, which means it is time to once again kick things off with our Elimination Chamber pay-per-view predictions. Who the hell did the Rhodes Boys piss off to get relegated to the pre-show again? It was just last pay-per-view they were the tag team champions, putting on amazing matches every night, and everyone thought that the only reason to break them up was to have them face off at WrestleMania. Fast forward to today, and they've been relegated to backstage toy commercials. This is their final chance to strike before the iron cools down completely. If they win, then I don't see the WWE doing much with them in New Orleans. If they lose, however, it has the potential to kick off into that sibling rivalry we've all been waiting for. But I'm not that lucky. Also, there is no way the WWE is going to let Ryback win in Curtis's hometown, even with Ryback's entry into the best singlet ever contest. The Brotherhood wins. Much like the Tons of Funk breakup that preceded it, Young vs. O'Neal has been well executed, made both members look good, and will probably end abruptly on an episode of Main Event after a decent promo. Both guys are very talented, but despite Darren's positive publicity, Titus is obviously the more charismatic of the two, and the WWE seems to recognize that. While Darren has gotten the one-up on SmackDown, Titus has gotten to shine on Raw, which makes me believe that the big man will make it a win. I was skeptical and slightly perturbed when the Roadie and Rockabilly won the titles, but they make good transitional champions to pass the buck to a newer team, and there's no team more primed to win than the Usos. That said, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place on this one. On one hand, I don't want to see members of the old guard take up a slot at WrestleMania, especially when it can go to a newer tag team. But the story could benefit from giving it more time. Plus, there's no better rub than to win the titles at WrestleMania. So I'm going to hope WWE stretches this one out and say that the Outlaws retain, just with a considerable amount of chicanery. Big E versus Big Hoss for the Intercontinental title. Now this time last year, Swagger was on his way to a title push until he made a pit stop at the pharmacy. Luckily for him, he's beginning to pick up steam again with his tag team, and it looks like the former Mr. Langston will be a good match. However, I still predict Big E will keep the title. The only reason to give Swagger the strap is to entice a breakup of the Real Americans. Otherwise, there's nothing to gain than pushing the belt around. The primetime players have already disassembled, the Shield is beginning to show cracks, and there's still the potential for the Brotherhood breakup, so having one more team fall apart just feels like too much. Why even bother? Now, if it feels like I've said that once per pay-per-view, well then you're right, I have. But this is the worst offender. Normally when you have a return match, it warrants a win. But Batista has destroyed Del Rio on live television, beat him up while injured backstage, and has a major blockbuster movie coming out whose trailer was just released. I mean, unless we get word that Del Rio is playing Charlie 27, Batista wins. How's that for an obscure reference? If there was ever a reason to buy this pay-per-view, this would be it. The WWE has gotten us interested in a heel versus heel match, hook, line, and sinker. Everything about it is falling into place, and it is absolute proof that talent and substance overrides muscle and gimmick. That said, the target demographic this caters to the most is the vocal minority that probably can't afford to both buy this pay-per-view in the first 6 months of the WWE network. So there may not be proof that this match can, quote-unquote, draw money. As we reported during last week's WrestleMania Rumor Rundown, we may be getting the Shield Triple Threat match at WrestleMania. This makes me think that the Wyatts will win, so they can look strong going into their match with John Cena. A loss here for the Shield will open the door to any number of scenarios. They can easily use this match to galvanize the group, with Rollins finally getting Reigns and Ambrose on the same page, or they can use this to mark the beginning of the end of the Shield, with tension between Reigns and Ambrose coming to a head, where I believe Rollins will fire the first shot. Remember, it's always the quiet ones you gotta worry about. Oh yeah, there's this match too. At least it's not happening halfway through the show this year. I hope. 6 combatants enter, but let's face it, this one's pretty obvious. Take a look at everyone else who's in this match. Christian is only there because they literally couldn't think of anyone else to put in the chamber. John Cena still has Bray Wyatt waiting for him. Cesaro looks as though he may make it to the top of the mountain someday for the first time in his career, but it's a little bit too soon to give him the belt right before the biggest show of the year. Sheamus is... actually, I don't have a really good reason for Sheamus, but there's not as much money in Sheamus versus Batista as there is in Orton versus Batista. And heck, even if they decide to put Daniel Bryan in the WWE World Heavyweight title match at WrestleMania, and not in a match with Triple H, leaving the door open for Roman Reigns to spear his way through, he would still be alongside Dave and Randy, which tells me that he has Kane and the Authority to deal with during this match. And not just because the WWE wants to see if they can make the IWC's collective head explode. It's because, like it or not, based on the other options, that's what's best for business. And that ends another rousing round of predictions. Do you disagree with my theories? Do you think Del Rio has a chance? Then let me have it in the comment section below. Also, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, check out the Facebook pages of both us and JuiceMakesSugar.com, the revolutionary force in smart market entertainment. This week is Brett Week. So stop and let Nick, Dave, and Andy tell you what happens when you are greedy for both respect and money. Well, that's going to piss off the Canadians. Until next time, thank you for watching. My name is Noah Waterman, and please, don't try this at home.
Near the center of the dome! John Morrison, nearly 16 feet off the ground! Oh! Sheamus on the top of the top! He got it! Sheamus is done!